All right. Today we have to discuss something on test cases. Okay. So what do you mean by test case? What do you mean by test case?
How to be tested?
It is used for how to test the application. Okay. Online people, what do you mean by test case? How to be tested a test case. So how to be tested a test case? What is test case? So test case means step-by-step procedure, right? That is step-by-step procedure, right? Procedure to test a scenario or requirement, right? This is what exactly a test case means. Now, so let's take an example. I wanted to travel. My example. Or I wanted to travel from QT Madhapur to QT Amirpet. So tell me how can I travel? So don't think
Sir,
software
this
application
is
laga
the
ఆలోచించబాకండి. Software
sir.
application
This
లాగా
is
ఏం
the
ఆలోచించబాకండి.
test scenario, sir.
Sorry.
I wanted to travel from QT Madhapur to QT Amirpet.
QT
Is
Amirpet.
the
This is
scenario.
my requirement. This is my requirement. This is requirement.
Yes, sir. We can assume like a test scenario. Yes, this is.
This is my requirement, not a test scenario. So tell me, don't think in a software tester perspective, or don't think in a software testing application perspective. Normal people, if you wanted to travel from QT Madhapur to QT Amirpet, Quality Amirpet, what will you do? Okay. First of all, let's think what are the ways. Okay, what are the ways you can travel? Bus. Okay. Next one.
Own transportation.
By walk,
Own transport.
by bus, by train, by metro.
Sport. Transport. Metro. Cab. Okay. Cabs like Ola. These are the means of transport, right?
Sir, we can assume like this is the test scenarios. Number of test scenarios.
Yeah, I'll tell. Who is that? Just give me a minute. I'll tell you. I'm going to explain that. Transport. So now I have decided to I have decided using metro to go from QT Madhapur to QT Amirpet. So I'm at QT Madhapur, Quality Thought Madhapur. What should I do? First one is take an auto or walk until which metro? Madhapur metro station. Okay. Next, after going to Madhapur metro station, what would I do? What should I do? Purchase a metro ticket and go to the relevant platform. Okay. Next, what should I do? Next, what will you do after going to platform? Once the relevant train arrives, board the train. Okay. Next, what would I do? What would I do next? Once the train reaches Amirpet station, get out of the train. Next, what would I do? Next, what would I do? Okay. Scan the ticket at exit gate and get out of the come out of the station. Then what would I do? ఏంటండి? Yeah, I'll discuss like I'll tell you. Next, what would I do? Okay. Walk until the QT Amirpet to reach the destination. Right? This is what I do to reach QT Amirpet from QT Madhapur. Right? Online people, are you understanding? Are you following? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
So here my requirement is I wanted to travel from QT Madhapur to QT Amirpet. This is called as requirement or a user story. Right? Means of transport. What are the possible scenarios for traveling? These are called as test scenarios. Traveling by bus, traveling use own transport, traveling metro, and traveling a cab. These are called test scenarios. These are called as test steps. What exactly you are trying to do from going from Madhapur QT to Amirpet QT. What exactly you are trying to do? You are written in a sequential steps. So again, in these sequential steps, if you write some sequential steps, actually, those has to be very much clear and it has to be understandable. So this is called as test case. Okay. So for writing some test cases, actually, there are some guidelines for everything, for any work we do, there are some guidelines. So for constructing some building, we have some guidelines. So for app creation also, we have some guidelines. In the same way, for test case designing also, we have some Guidelines. So what are those guidelines actually for designing good test cases? First one. Complete coverage of the requirement or scenario. Right? Our test case should be completely covered. Like manaku scenario icharu. Let's take example. There is a scenario where we have to write test cases for password. We have to cover everything like the positive, negative, field level validations, and what are the characters it should accept. Those all scenarios we have to cover. Right? Next one. Test cases needs to be simple, clear, and understandable. Right? It has to be clear. So let's take example of our test case which we have written. Like manam ippudu we have written a test case from going from QTM Madhapur to Amirpet. Let's take example. A person who does not know, who never traveled in a metro, he never traveled in a metro, and he wanted to travel for the first time. Let's take an auto or walk until Madhapur metro station. Will he able to follow that step or not? Next, purchase a metro ticket and go to relevant platform. So he purchased a ticket. Will he able to go to platform or not? So here you have to make it so clear that and scan the purchase a metro ticket to Amirpet metro station and scan the ticket. So if he take any ticket and he can't go right, he has to take to the relevant station. Scan the ticket at entry gate. Right? So go to relevant platform. Here we can make it more clear, right? By follow the signboards or screens. Screens ఉంటాయి కదా? Screens in station and go to the relevant platform, right? Once the relevant train arrives, board the train. Once the train reaches the Amirpet station, get out of the train. Scan the ticket. You can write here as follow the directions to exit gate and scan the ticket at exit gate. So now the next step is come out of the station and walk until the. So will it be clear actually if a person who is very much new to, will he able to follow these steps and can he board the metro station and go metro train and go to Amirpet station? So in the same way, our test cases has to be that much simple, clear, and understandable. It has to be understand. See, for example, you have written test cases, you have designed test cases, and you left the project. If a new person comes to the project and wanted to execute those test cases, it has to be very much simple and it has to be understandable. Sometimes actually there might not be time for him to walk through the application or else give him the KT. He has to sit in the execution part, or he has to take some execution part and execute the test cases. If the test case is not that clear, it will be a problem. Also, the same test cases, I know you might have know the requirement traceability matrix, right? If a test case fails and report a defect, you will attach the test case. The developer has to see the test case, right? So if the test case is not clear or not understandable, you will not understand the steps, right? So for all these reasons, the test case has to be simple, clear, and understandable. Next.
Sir?
Yeah.
I have one doubt, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Suppose above requirement,
Mhm.
we have 4 or 5 test scenarios.
Right.
So suppose another requirement, we will get to 2 or 1 test scenarios.
Okay.
In above requirement, we have 3, 4 test scenarios. How to execute all test scenarios? This needs, sir. Anyone it is okay. Execution of test scenarios for one requirement. For one requirement, one test scenario execution is enough, or how many test scenarios is there? We have to
Okay.
execute all.
So let's take example. Now you tell me. You the same requirement. I wanted to go from Amirpet Madhapur QT to Amirpet QT. So we have executed we have written test case for metro, and we have executed for metro. That is passing, right?
Yes.
There is a person. He is a rich person and he wanted to go to cab, but there is a strike. Cab strike is there. He cannot reach Madhapur Amirpet metro. That means is that failing or passing?
Failing, sir.
So if you don't execute that, if you don't write test case for that cab, will you able to notice that test case passed or failed?
Fail, sir.
So now you tell me, will you have to write test cases for all the scenarios or not?
It is better, I think, execute the all test scenarios.
You have to write for all these scenarios, you have to write, and you have to execute for everything. We don't know which will fail, right? Right?
Yes, yes. I think it is mandatory, sir.
So that is what I asked you. That is what I'm asking you. If this fails, if this scenario fails, own transport scenario or cab scenario fails, how will you know actually without executing? How will you know that this is passing or not? See, are you able to understand what I'm talking?
Yes, yes, sir.
So you will understand only once you execute, right? Yes or no? Yeah. Did you get that?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll take one more example. I'll tell you actually, I'll make it more clear for you. I'll take one more example and let you know. All right. Let me complete the guidelines. Once I complete that, I'll take one more example and let me make it more clear for you. So the third guideline is like the test steps should not be repetitive. Same test steps actually it should not be repetitive in the test case. The next one is like the test cases which we design should be designed in such a way that it can be reusable, right? Reusable. Let's take example. Amazon application is there like our Amazon application is there. Like, so for Amazon application, we have it is there like the application is in Android application is there, iOS application is there, and a web application is there. Like, so if we design test cases for web application, the look and feel will be same actually inside the mobile applications also, right? So only some new few navigation steps might be different. So we don't have to, so for that, we don't have to design the same step case, test cases again for that. Like, so we can take that test case and we can modify few design steps and make it usable for apps also, right? That is why we have to design test cases in such a way that they can be reusable, right? These are the 4 guidelines actually which we use for designing test cases. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Let's take one more example. Let's take the common example. My requirement is for login password. Now tell me scenarios. I asked only for login password. I asked only for login password. Scenarios. What are the scenarios we can write like? So
Enter the URL and log in the application.
no. I'm asking the scenarios. What are the scenarios you can write down for this?
We should have the different browser.
Why that browser? Is that you are testing the functionality of that? Like, first one, we can write down like this, right? Verify the number of minimum so let me make it more clear. More requirement, make it more clear. Like characters, it is accepting minimum 6 and maximum 20. Type of characters, alphabets, both upper and lower, comma, numbers and special characters. No. Next one. No spaces. I have not even right. Password. Blank error message. number, comma, special character, and one uppercase and one lowercase alphabet. Now tell me the scenarios. Now tell me the scenarios.
Verified the login functionality.
Who is that? Who was that? Who was that? Who was telling that scenario? What is my requirement here? My requirement is for login password field, right? Then why are we searching for login screen? First of all, we have to understand what is my requirement. So my requirement is like it should accept the password field should have a minimum of 6 characters and maximum of 20 characters. It has to accept all alphabets, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and all special characters. And it should have at least one special character, one uppercase, one lowercase, and one number. So what is my scenarios? What would is my scenarios? Verify the password field which has one uppercase or lowercase alphabet, comma, one special character and one number. Antena? So, will it pass or fail? Huh? Why? So, which has at least right? Next scenario. Verify the error message when password field has less than 6 characters. Next, what is next scenario? Verify the next in game of next, it can accept, right? That is why we have written here at least, right? Any more scenarios? Online people, are you able to follow? Are you getting what I'm talking?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any more scenarios for this requirement? No, right? These are the maximum scenarios these are the maximum scenarios or test cases which we can write. Now tell me.
Sir, one more scenario is there.
Sorry?
One more scenario is there. I think
Yeah, tell me.
verify the error message when a user does not enter any character.
Any character. Or blank. Will that be covered here, right? Less than 6 characters. Less than 6 means it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, anything can be right until 5. Sorry? I'm having really hard in hearing you actually. Can you speak again? Who is that? All the special characters. Now tell me, if we miss writing test cases for any of this scenario, or if we miss executing any of this scenario, will we completely covering our requirement? Will we able to identify? Actually, let's take example. We did not execute the test case which has spaces in it, like so. If we did not execute that, will you able to identify a defect in that? If there is a defect. So we have to, for complete coverage for this guideline, complete coverage guideline, we have to write all the scenarios for covering that requirement, and we have to execute all the scenarios. Got it? So online people, did you understand the person who was asking that question? Yes, no, maybe. I'm not hearing anything from you guys actually. Am I talking something rocket science? మీరు వినలేదా ఎప్పుడు ఇది టాపిక్ ఎప్పుడు వినలేదా? విన్నారు
Yes,
కదా?
sir. Previous topics.
సో టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ డిజైన్ కూడా చేసి ఉండాలి మీరు ఈ పాటికి. సో వై ఆర్ యూ నాట్ టాకింగ్ ఎనీథింగ్?
సరే, యాక్చువల్ గా ఇప్పుడు ప్రజెంట్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ సినారియోస్ రివ్యూస్ ఉంటాయి కదా సార్, కేసెస్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రివ్యూస్, అలాగే టెస్ట్ సినారియో రివ్యూస్ కూడా ఉంటాయా సార్?
రివ్యూస్ అండ్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రివ్యూస్ ఉంటాయండి. టెస్ట్ సినారియోస్ యాక్చువల్ గా సో లీడ్ చూపిస్తాము, ఈ సినారియోస్ నేను టెస్ట్ కేసు రాస్తున్నాను అని చెప్పని చూపించి వీల్ రైట్ స్టార్టింగ్ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ లైక్. So it again all depends on your confidence levels. And but see, let's take example. If you are going as a fresher, you have to show all these things because he's a fresher and this person does not know anything, and he has to show all these things actually. What are the scenarios he's writing? How are his test cases? Is he writing? Is completely covering the requirement or not? If the same person actually goes as an experienced person with 3 years or 2 years of experience, the expectations would be different because he has already worked for 2-3 years, and will it be good actually for him to show I'm writing for these scenarios, for those scenarios? Like it all depends on the person actually who is going, whether as experience or fresher. But test case review happens, and scenarios actually while reviewing those test cases only, scenarios also will be reviewed, and he will be, if any scenarios are not covered, he'll be told at that point of time.
So my doubt is suppose a test scenario that is not a correct way, the times we will lose the time. number of test steps we will write. Suppose one test scenario which is failed, the time
Okay.
to test cases also fail.
Not clear అండి, అర్థం కాల.
టెస్ట్ సినారియోస్ అదేంటి కరెక్ట్ కాకుంటే మనకు టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ కూడా ఫెయిల్ అవుతాయి కదా సార్.
అందుకనే కదండి ఇప్పుడు టెస్ట్ కేసెస్, ఇప్పుడు టెస్ట్ సినారియోస్ రాస్తాము. ఇప్పుడు లెట్స్ టేక్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, టెస్ట్ సినారియోస్ కరెక్ట్ కాలేదు అని చెప్పంటే మీరు రిక్వైర్మెంట్ సరిగ్గా అర్థం చేసుకోలేదనే కదా. యు ఆర్ ఫెయిలింగ్ యువర్ రూల్స్. ఫస్ట్ రూల్స్ అండ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ లో మీరు ఫెయిల్ అవుతున్నారు. వెన్ విల్ యూ రైట్ ఇన్ కరెంట్ సినారియో, రైట్? సో understanding the requirements, understanding or analyzing the requirements, that is basic thing. After that, scenarios you will write down, like what are the maximum scenarios you can write down. Those scenarios you will write down and you will write down the test cases. So those test cases will be reviewed. There you will come down. So time waste అని చెప్పన్నా. So let's take example. So how many test cases will you write on an 8 hours of your work? So let's take example. ఒక కాంప్లెక్స్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ తీసుకున్నారండి, ఒక కాంప్లెక్స్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ తీసుకున్నారు, ఒక యూఐ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ తీసుకున్నారు. సో యూఐ అంటే మామూలుగా సింపుల్ స్ట్రైట్ అవే టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ ఉన్నాయి. సో ఒక కాంప్లెక్స్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ తీసుకుంటే ఒక 8 hours లో ఎన్ని టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రాస్తారు, ఒక యూఐ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఎన్ని టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రాస్తారు? ఆస్కింగ్ కుమార్, how many test cases will you write?
We have techniques there na, BVA, EPC.
So that is what I'm asking, using those techniques actually. So మిమ్మల్ని ఇంటర్వ్యూలో ఈ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడగచ్చు. సో హౌ మెనీ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ విల్ యూ రైట్ ఆన్ యావరేజ్ డే? ఒక యావరేజ్ లో ఒక డేలో హౌ మెనీ టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ విల్ యూ రైట్? వాట్ వుడ్ బి యువర్ ఆన్సర్?
That is depend upon the experience.
I didn't get like experience. It does not depend on the experience, sir. I'm telling you, that is what I'm telling you. On an average, if it is a requirement, if it is a complex requirement, you can design up to 12 to 15 test cases. If it is a UI simple requirement, if password field ke rastana manamu, let's take ఎన్ని టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ రాసాం ఇక్కడ మనం, ఎన్ని టెస్ట్ కేసెస్ ఎన్ని సినారియోస్ రాసాం? we are list down around 5 scenarios in 30 minutes. Like ఒక 30 minutes లో we have list down 5 scenarios. Like if it takes like 8 hours of work లో, in that case how many test cases will you be writing? UA test cases ఎన్ని రాయొచ్చు? ఒక 35 నుంచి 40 test cases రాయొచ్చు. Yes or no?
Yes sir.
So let's take example, మీకు ఒక సినారియో వేస్ట్ అయితే, ఒక సినారియో మీరు మిస్ అయితే, ఆర్ ఎల్స్ ఇన్ దట్ ఒక సినారియో మీరు తప్పు రాయటం, లేకపోతే if you are writing that, how many test cases will be, like how much time waste it would be? Maximum of half an hour or 1 hour only, right?
Yes sir.
So don't think in that scenario. నేను తప్పు సినారియోస్ రాస్తే టైం వేస్ట్ అయిపోతుందా, ఈ టెస్ట్ కేసులు రాసి మళ్ళీ రివ్యూ చేసుకొని అదంతా అవుతుందా? That is, don't think in that perspective. First try to understand the requirement and try to analyze the requirement and write down the maximum scenarios for that. Anyways, that will be reviewed. Your test cases will be reviewed, and if you are going as a fresher or something, like your test scenarios will be reviewed, and you will be given feedback as per the your test cases and your scenarios. Okay.
I am asking like we have it did not have any techniques like we have test cases design techniques, BVA, ECP, that is the test case design techniques.
Right.
We did not have any test scenarios techniques.
No sir, we do not have any test case design test scenario techniques.
It is only understand of the person.
Yes, we have to understand the requirement, and as per our understanding only, we have to write down the scenarios.
Okay.
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 All right. Any questions? Any questions up to here? Like, no questions? Okay. So let's talk something about test case template. So what is a test case template? Sorry? Test case template. I'm asking test case template. Okay. Test case template is nothing like what are the fields? What are the required fields that needs to be available in a test case, right? That is what test case template. What does the test case template consist of?
It consists of test case ID, test case description, test case summary, precondition, test steps, and test environment, test data,
Okay.
and expected result and actual result.
Okay, let's take like first one, test case ID. Next one. Requirement ID. Okay, next one. Test case. Next one.
Description.
Test case description. దీనికంటే ముందు ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. Test case name or summary. Right? Next one. Test precondition. Next. Next. Test data. Next. Expected. Next. Okay. Okay. Next. Reviewed.
Status.
Status. Priority. Next. Comments. Next,
owner ID,
owner ID. Next, assignee. This one, right? Assignee. Okay, next. That's all.
Execute.
Execute. Okay. That's all. Anything we missed? Online people? So both offline on people, online people, we have 16 fields అనుకుంటున్నాం అంతేనా? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll ask you two questions here like. So now, which tool have you used for designing test cases? Jira. Jira lo ఏది? Which plugin? Zipper. Okay. Before going to there, let me ask you one question here. What is Jira? What is Zipper Scale or what is this? Okay. It is a project management tool.
Jira is a
Are you
bug
guys-
tracking tool.
Yes,
Sorry?
yes.
It
Do
is
you guys
also
all accept this?
Yes, sir.
It is a Jira is a project management tool, right? It is complete development, oka product development related activities, everything can be tracked here like all the project or development of a product related activities can be tracked. So what those activities like? Requirements or user stories, tools used, Next one, resources, timelines, so oka product we wanted to develop some online portal actually. For that, what are the user stories or what are the requirements? Everything can be tracked. What are the tools that can be used? Are we developing on which platform? Java are you using? Are we using Python or else what is the DevOps? These all things can be tools, can be which are the tools they are using that can be tracked in this Jira tool. Resources, which resources will be there like development level or product manager ever, Scrum team ever. Those all things can be tracked there. Timelines, ఏ యూజర్ స్టోరీ ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ చేశారు, ఏ స్ప్రింట్ ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ చేశారు, ఏ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఎక్కడ జరుగుతుంది, ఏంటి డిఫెక్ట్స్, these all things can be tracked in Jira tool. Now, even testing related activities. Also can be tracked. So what is ZipperScale and DifferScale? It is a
It's a bug tracking tool.
bug tracking tool. Okay. For me, it is a test management tool. Right here, I will track user stories, all the testing related activities, user stories, test case, designing part, test case, execution, and defects linked to the test cases and requirements, that is RTM. Right? Let me show you. This is how a Jira tool looks like. This is all some project related activities. These are the user stories which we are working, and everything will be there like. So, ikkada, are you able to see any test cases over here? Like, you will not see any test cases here. You will see only the development related activities, everything you will be see. These are all the user stories which we are working like, and those statuses actually. Now here issues. This is the part where defects are reported. For the complete project, defects are reported here. Basing on the project and basing on the person who reported, he will assign to the specific test cases or requirement. That is something different. Now, let's come back to our testing scene. This is the plugin. So what are we seeing here? Like, we are seeing three folders. This is test cases where we write the test cases. So click on new test case and you start writing test case here. I'll come back to here where this is test cycles. This is where you execute your test cases. These test cases will be imported from here. Ikkad nunchi you will import what are the test cases you have written here in test cases. Test cases ఈ folder లో or this column లో ఏమైతే రాసుకున్నామో ఇవి test cycle లోకి pull చేసుకొని we'll pull those test cases to here and we will execute. These are test plans. Test plan is something like user మనకు ఒక user story ఇచ్చి document ఇచ్చి we'll prepare test plan like That will be taken care by your test lead or something like. You don't have to worry about that. Like, and these are the reports. These are report. This is also will be taken care by lead actually, where project test execution ఎంతవరకు జరిగింది ఏంటి. This is where RTM traceability. These all things will be taken care by your leads or your test managers. You don't have to worry. Mostly you will be working on these two things only. If you are supposed to work in Scale or Jira tool, you will be working on these two things. Okay. Now let's get back to our test case template. So I think most of you people are telling like experience only, right? Most of the people are going by experienced. So in your interview,
Yes,
if
sir.
they ask which tool have you worked, means what will you be telling? Scale or Jira. Now, right? You have given these as my test case template. Let's see what all the fields it consists of. Test case ID. Is there a test case ID here? Online people, are you able to understand? Are you following me what I'm trying to tell?
Yes, sir.
Is there a test case ID? You guys have told me test case ID, Anandi. Where is the test case ID? That is what they would be asking you. Test case template means nothing but what are the fields you see while writing a test case. You have to understand. That is what here. I opened. Now tell me where is the test case ID? In Excel. But in interview, you are told that you worked on Jira tool, right? You're going and telling and I worked on Jira tool. They'd be asking you, where is the test case ID? Then what will you tell? So test case ID is something automatically generated after you design that test case. సో మీరు ఇవ్వరు ఐడి టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఐడి ఇక్కడ టెస్ట్ కేస్ మీరు డిజైన్ చేసి సేవ్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఒక ఐడి జనరేట్ అయిపోతుంది ఆటోమేటిక్ గా. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఐడి, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్ యూ టోల్డ్ మీ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఐడి. వేర్ ఇస్ దట్? హియర్ ఓన్లీ ఇట్ విల్ హ్యావ్ లైక్ ఈ ఫీల్డ్స్ లోనే ఉంటుంది. వేర్ ఇస్ దట్? సో వై ఐఎమ్ టెల్లింగ్ యూ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ ఇస్ లైక్ రేపు పొద్దున ఇంటర్వ్యూ ప్రాస్పెక్టివ్ లో మీరు మాట్లాడేటప్పుడు ఇఫ్ యూ గైడ్ టు యూస్ టు దీస్ థింగ్స్ ఇట్ విల్ బి ఈజీ. యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు బై హార్ట్. ఈ క్వశ్చన్స్ అన్ని మీరు బై హార్ట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. మీరు ఇవన్నీ చూసి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తే వాట్ ఆర్ ద థింగ్స్ యూ ఆర్ లుకింగ్ అట్ హియర్ యూ కెన్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ వెరీ మచ్ ఈజీలీ, కాన్ఫిడెంట్లీ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయగలుగుతారు మీరు. దట్ ఈస్ వై ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. ఓకే, సో వేర్ ఇస్ దిస్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఐడి? This requirement ID is something actually where you see in the traceability. ఇక్కడ you have to link to the user story. మనకి ఇచ్చిన యూజర్ స్టోరీకి you have to link that. సో ఈ రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఐడి, ఈ టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఐడి, ఇవన్నీ మరి ఈ టెస్ట్ కేస్ టెంప్లెట్ లో ఇవన్నీ why things has come అని చెప్పంటే డ్యూరింగ్ వాటర్ఫాల్ మెథడాలజీ. సో we used to have SRS document, BRS document, technical specification document, these documents, everything there is there, like everything. which is not there in Jira nowadays. Actually, in agile methodology, those things are not there. All the technical specification document, VRS, nothing is there. They are giving only user story, and they are describing the user story, how the requirement should be. But in waterfall methodology or V model methodology, they used to give those documents. Those documents for each and every requirement, they have a requirement tag and చెప్పని ఒకటి ఉండేది. That requirement tag is something called as requirement ID. So అలాగ అదే టెంప్లెట్ ఫాలో అవ్వకుండా అప్పటి నుంచి ఇప్పుడు దాకా వస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ టెంప్లెట్ అంటే ఎమ్మటే టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఐడి ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఐడి ఒకటి ఉంటుందని అదే ఫాలో అవుతూ వస్తున్నారు. కొత్త కొత్త టూల్స్ వస్తున్నాయి, కొత్త కొత్త అన్నీ వస్తున్నాయి. వీ హ్యావ్ టు చేంజ్ దోస్ థింగ్స్. ఓకే, సో ద మెయిన్ థింగ్ వాట్ అన్ ఇంటర్వ్యూర్ లుక్. నేను what if I take interview, or else if I take some technical, if I participate in some technical discussions, I will not look in these things actually. Whether the person is telling test case ID undi, requirement ID undi, ayi undi అని చెప్తే నేను వినను. నాకు what things which I require is these things: test case name, test case objective, and look at the mandatory fields actually here. Like test case name is mandatory field. This should have for every test case. Objective means something like test case name. Let's take example. మనం ఇక్కడ రాసుకున్న test case చూద్దాం. Verify the password field which has at least one uppercase, one lowercase alphabet, and one special character and one number. That is my test case name. Objective should be more elaborate and clear. This test case detailed description of test case. That is like this test case is to verify the password field when user enters at least one uppercase and one lowercase alphabets, comma, one special character and one number. Now look at how this test case name and how this objective is like. You are more elaborating what exactly you are trying to test. ఇప్పుడు చూసి the user will understand by looking at this objective or else description. He will understand what are you trying to test very much easily, right? That is what this objective means. Precondition is something actually which is needed for doing that test, So అన్ని scenarios లో precondition కావాల్సి వస్తుందా? No. Precondition might be some scenarios లో ఉంటది, some scenarios లో might not be there. Like no, see status. You see the status. What is that? Not pass or fail. మనం టెస్ట్ కేసు రాస్తున్నాం. వీఆర్ నాట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటింగ్ దట్ కేసు. టెస్ట్ కేసు పాస్ ఆఫ్ ఫెయిల్ ఎప్పుడు తెలుస్తుంది? ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ చేసిన తర్వాత. సో ఇక్కడ స్టేటస్ లో ఏముంటుంది? వాట్ విల్ బి ఇన్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ డిజైనింగ్ లో ఏమేమి స్టేటస్ ఉంటాయి? టు డూ ఇన్ ప్రోగ్రెస్ అయిన డిఫెక్ట్ లో ఉంటాయి, ఆర్ ఎల్స్ యూజర్ స్టోరీ వర్కింగ్ లో ఉంటాయి. వై విల్ బి ఇన్ దిస్ ఇయర్ reviewed, approved. మీరు రాసిన టెస్ట్ కేసు approved. It is approved. It is good for execution. That will be the test case. If not, it will be reviewed and it will be given comments. You have to make these changes or not. Okay. Next, what we see here is like priority. Priority, basing on the functionality, you have to assign the priority. Is it complex functionality or else like it is critical functionality, you will assign. So component, which component does it come under like? So you don't have to worry all these things actually. E component anedi, you don't have to worry. Sometimes actually in projects actually, if they ask, they will tell you on prior only, they will tell you, okay, మీరు దీనికి ఈ functionality test cases రాస్తున్నారు కాబట్టి you put these test cases under these components. You don't have to worry which component I have to select అని చెప్పనేది మీరు worry అవసరం లేదు. ఈ owner name, whoever it is designing, it will be automatically populated. Okay. Next is estimated time. How much time will it take for execution? ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ కోసం ఎంత టైం పడుతుంది అని చెప్పనేది యూ హ్యావ్ టు ప్రొజెక్ట్ దట్. ఇప్పుడు మీరు డిజైన్ చేసేటప్పుడు తెలుస్తుంది, టెస్ట్ కేస్ డిజైన్ చేసేటప్పుడు తెలుసు ఎంతసేపు పడుతుంది ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ అని చెప్పండి. యూ హ్యావ్ టు ప్రొజెక్ట్ దట్. దిస్ ఫోల్డర్ లేబుల్స్ యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు వరీ మోర్ ఆన్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. ఓకే. ఇక్కడ we have seen expected result, actual result, reviewed ఇవన్నీ చూసాం మనం. Let's take this is where test steps comes under. Details తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ ట్యాబ్ ఉంది, టెస్ట్ స్క్రిప్ట్ అనే ట్యాబ్ ఉంది కదా. హియర్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ లైక్ టెస్ట్ స్టెప్స్. ఓకే. సో హియర్ వీఆర్ రైటింగ్ టెస్ట్ స్టెప్. వాట్ ఈస్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ స్టెప్? ఇక్కడ మనం చూసిన స్టెప్ ఏదైతే ఉందో these are the steps, right, for the requirement which we written. So these steps will be here writing. We will be writing that. And expected result aim avalo, that is what we are writing here. If anything required here, test data, we will write. Now someone told actual result. Actual result ekkada unda ikkada mari? లేదు. ఎక్కడ వస్తుంది అంటే యాక్చువల్ రిజల్ట్ while executing, this is the test step, this is the expected result, this is the actual result. While execution, the actual result comes. Okay. So this reviewed, we have seen that who has reviewed, his name would be populated. Priority we have seen, status we have seen, comments. What is this owner ID? Owner name. Okay. Assignee. Where is this assign came from? డిఫెక్ట్ ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది? టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది. టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఫెయిల్ అయినప్పుడు డిఫెక్ట్ వస్తుంది. మనం ఇక్కడ దేని గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాం? టెస్ట్ కేస్ డిజైనింగ్. మరి అసలు అప్పుడు ఎందుకు అసలు డిజైనింగే అవ్వలేదు. డిజైనింగ్ అవ్వక ముందు ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్కి వెళ్ళిపోయారు. ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ తర్వాత డిఫెక్ట్ చూసారు. డిఫెక్ట్ కి టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఫెయిల్ అయిపోయింది, దానికి డిఫెక్ట్ రాశారు. ఆ డిఫెక్ట్ మళ్ళీ మీకే అసైన్. ఎందుకది? Right. Next one, execute. What is this execute? Okay. So what I'm telling is like, as per Jira tool or else Zephyr scale, your test case template should be like this. If you're writing in Excel sheet, okay, I accept. But if you're writing test case, it has to be followed like this actually. Your test case name, objective, precondition, priority, test steps, expected result, test data, status, comments, that is also time is not also required like. ఇవి చెప్తే చాలు, ఇవి కాన్ఫిడెంట్ చెప్తే చాలు, పని చేసారులే చెప్పేస్తారు. ఇవన్నీ అవసరం లేదు మిగతా అన్ని. So nothing wrong actually. If you write those things also, nothing wrong actually. But on a real environment, what are we using? Try to understand that. So what exactly is a test case template means actually what are the fields which are we using for designing test case, right? On a real environment, what are we trying to use? Try to tell those things only. Okay. Are we clear up to here? Any questions, online people?
Sir, where we will get the requirement ID?
Requirement ID, that is what here. In the traceability, in the attachments, we'll go and select the requirement user story. In the traceability, we'll try to link that here. The user story. Okay. Or while creating, you'll try to create, okay, user story. It will be created by the project manager or something like product manager or scrum master. They will try to create that. You will take that one and you will assign the test cases. Okay. Okay. Now, anyone has any questions up to here? Okay. All right. I wanted one thing from you guys actually. I just wanted you guys to create for tomorrow's class. We'll design test cases. For tomorrow's class, we'll design test cases. We'll start designing test cases in Jira tool for Jira in Jira plugin. For that, you guys have to create Jira account. This Jira account will be a trial version. You guys know that will be only for 30 days. So try to use a new email ID and create a Jira account. You guys are aware of AIO. AIO actually, let's try to use a tool actually which everyone mostly using. AIO, we can see that later point of time. We'll do a thing actually. We'll write down. We'll write down the test cases in Jira now. Jira scale now, and we'll try to do that. Just give me a second.
Okay.
ప్రదీప్ గారు ప్రదీప్ గారు నేను ఒక్క చిన్న మీటింగ్ లో ఉన్నా అంటే నేను కాల్ బ్యాక్ చేస్తాను మీకు నేను కాల్ బ్యాక్ చేస్తాను So what our plan is like for next few days, we'll try to write down the test cases in Jira tool. After that, we'll see like test case. That means that will come up everything like defect reporting like designing test cases in Jira scale, Jira tool, execution of those test cases. If there are any defects, actually reporting defects and linking those defects. These all things will come under that. Is that okay? Do you guys agree with that?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then I guess wanted you guys to create a Jira account and add a Jira scale plugin. Okay, this is what you guys have to do, and we'll start doing that from tomorrow. We'll take a requirement, sample requirement, and I will try to write down the test cases and scenarios for that. Like, okay,
Okay.
clear? All right.
Clear.
Thanks, guys. That's all I have for today. Any questions?